Welcome to From the Nightmares of Hike Danny, and this is chapter 1 of Feral Dolls. For this project I'm going to work on a special commission. As a base I'm going to use Monster High's First Wave Jane Bully doll, mixed matched with Scary City of Fright Skelida Calaveras. I'm only going to use Skelida's leg and the arm, so our main doll is going to be Jane. I start with undressing her, removing her accessories and cutting her hair really short. Using a hairdryer to soften her head and remove it from her neck. Then I take some tweezers and remove her hair from the inside of her head. Once it's done, I take some cotton balls, soak it in 100% pure acetone and remove her factory paint. Her head was already factory painted black, which was exactly what I needed, but it had some bold patches, so I took some black acrylic paint and repainted it all over again. If your repainting gets a little bit crooked, you can take a needle and scratch the paint off, or just use some acetone to fix the crooked lines. Then I take my X-Acto knife, replace the blade with a needle and begin the rerouting process. I always use regular sewing needles and break their upper part with pliers. You really don't need to buy those special rerouting needles or those fancy rerouting tools from Etsy. I mean, X-Acto knives do the job, they're more versatile and comfortable to use. I'm also using alpaca hair. I've bought it in raw state on Etsy. I salted it, washed it, processed and dyed them black with a purple ombre. I also use professional human hair dyes. I tried using those cheap fabric dyes, and from my experience they really don't do the job. If you really want to get a saturated hair color, I would highly suggest you to use human hair dyes. I started applying a few layers of Pan Pastel's titanium white, then I brushed the corners of her eyes a little bit darker to give it some deepness. I'm really sorry if I haven't recorded the entire process of repainting. It was my first time recording while I am doing a face up and I felt really uncomfortable to paint in front of a camera. I was getting very anxious and ruining the face up. I gave her fully dark eyes like a void, and after shaping her eyebrows for a while, my client asked me to completely remove them, so I just toned them to give more of a demonic expression. I replaced the needle of my X-Acto knife with a blade, and I started to make a cut on her knee to remove her leg. I also used a candle to make the plastic soft to be able to cut deeper. This took a really long time, and please be very careful not to cut yourself or damage the leg's mechanism from the inside, because you might purchase a doll bundle on eBay and so some dolls come with a broken leg, and you can actually use this leg to replace it later. And this is the moment of relief when I finally removed the leg safely from the knee. I replaced it with Skeleto's leg and used the candle again to soften the plastic and close the crack on her knee. At some places I also added epoxy sculpt. Don't worry if the burnt knee gets darker, that layer can be easily removed by sanding. So I removed her sculpted underwear and sanded her body with a sanding sponge. Okay, so please let me know, am I the only one who has a hoarding issue with epoxy sculpt leftovers? I mean, you can't really sculpt with them anymore, but for some strange reason, I'm unable to throw them away. If you have this weird hoarding issue with epoxy sculpt, please let me know in the comments. I started sculpting the crack on her chest using 2-part epoxy sculpt. As you can see, I don't really have proper tools for sculpting, so I'm just using random things. I also sculpted some roses and added to the crack. I would not really suggest you to use epoxy sculpt for fragile and thin layered sculptures, because for some reason it still looks too thick, so probably a heartier dry clay or polymer clay will do a better job. Once the crack on her chest was dry, I painted her entire torso purple to match her skin color. I also painted the roses black and glued them on the crack. I blushed her body with pastels. Then I gave her some freckles with acrylics. Please ignore those ugly politicians on that random newspaper. I repainted the roses black again because I forgot to protect them while doing the freckles. I started making the shoes using Warbler art term plastics. I didn't really have a specific design idea in my head while making the shoes. In general, I don't really do concept sketches for my dolls. I personally prefer to go with the flow, but the issues were quite complex, so I doodled them on paper. I'm very good at painting, so please don't judge this doodle too harshly. It's just a quick thing to help me with the constructive part. Once their shape was done, I cut out some thin pieces of Warbler to sort of imitate roots growing from her shoes. One of my friends actually made a comment saying that their shoes look like separate organisms from the doll, which in my opinion is kind of accurate. I also sculpted roses out of polymer clay and painted them purple, then I glued them on shoes. With a thin layer of acrylic paint, I added some shadows in between the petals. Then I painted the shoes with glossy varnish. I feel so bad for not including the process of how I made this dress and corset. Back when I made it, I wasn't planning to start a YouTube channel. I'm removing all the glitter that I've added to her corset because tacky glue failed miserably to hold the glitter in place. So I scratched them off and used super glue this time, and it worked 100% better. And of course I painted the corset with glossy varnish. My client asked me to make 2 different kind of tiaras for the doll. I made the first one out of wires and glitter, and the second one from artificial flowers, and I also painted them black. Not fully, but at some parts. At the end I gave her some black nail polish and the doll was finished. Thank you so much for watching, and now enjoy the end result pictures, and I will see you in chapter 2.